A single photograph can freeze time, stir emotion, or even change the world. But have you ever wondered how this powerful art form began? The story behind photography is packed with wild inventions, shocking breakthroughs, and iconic moments that reshaped how we see everything. Today, we're unraveling the incredible history of photography, a journey filled with light, chemistry, war, fame, and a little bit of magic. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let's snap into the story. Chapter 1, The Birth of an Idea. Long before Instagram and selfies, the concept of capturing images started with something called the camera obscura, Latin for dark room. This was no more than a box with a hole, but it was the seed of what would become photography. Ancient Chinese and Greek philosophers, like Moses and Aristotle, observed how light could project an image through a pinhole. But it wasn't until the 11th century that this idea was documented in detail. Yet for centuries, no one could figure out how to fix those images permanently. That is, until the 19th century. Chapter 2, The first photograph ever taken. In 1826, French inventor Joseph Nicephore Niepce made history by capturing the first ever photograph using a process called heliography. The image? A blurry view from his window, but it took 8 hours to expose. Niepce teamed up with another visionary, Louis Daguerre, and together, they changed the world. Chapter 3, Daguerreotypes and the Rise of Portrait Photography. In 1839, Daguerre introduced the daguerreotype, a method that used silver-plated copper to create sharp, detailed images. And guess what? It only took minutes to develop, a revolution at the time. The world was captivated. For the first time ever, people could preserve their likenesses forever, no painting needed. Photography studios exploded across Europe and America, and portrait photography became the trend of the century. Chapter 4, The Wet Plate and War Photography. Next came the wet plate collodion process in the 1850s, allowing multiple copies of a photo to be made. This made photography more affordable and accessible to the public. And for the first time, war was documented in stunning, and often haunting, detail. Matthew Brady and his team captured the brutal reality of the American Civil War, bringing the battlefield into people's homes. Photography wasn't just art anymore. It became a tool for truth. Chapter 5, Kodak and the Birth of Modern Photography. Then came a man named George Eastman. In 1888, he introduced a game-changer, the Kodak camera. His slogan? "You press the button, we do the rest." With roll film and compact cameras, photography became a hobby for the masses. You no longer needed a studio, you could just point and shoot. Photography was officially mainstream. Chapter 6, Color comes to life. For decades, photos were only in black and white. But in the early 1900s, inventors experimented with color photography. One early success was the autochrome Lumiere in 1907, beautiful, grainy, and full of life. Color photography exploded in the 1930s and 40s, especially after Kodachrome, yes, the one Paul Simon sang about. Suddenly, the world wasn't just remembered, it was remembered in color. Chapter 7, Instant photos, instant gratification. Then came Polaroid in the 1940s, photos that developed right in your hand within minutes. This was social media before social media. Instant photography let people capture moments and share them immediately. Sound familiar? Chapter 8, The Digital Revolution. The late 20th century brought the digital revolution. Film was replaced by pixels. Storage was now digital. Editing became easier. And sharing, instant. In 2000, Sharp released the first phone with a camera, and the rest is history. Photography became everyday, everywhere, and for everyone. Chapter 9, Photography Today and Beyond. Today, photography is more powerful than ever. From mirrorless cameras to AI image enhancement, we're capturing life in ways that early pioneers could only dream of. We use photos to tell stories, to remember, to inspire, and to connect across the globe. 10 incredible facts about the history of photography. The first photo ever taken took 8 hours to expose. In 1826, Joseph Nicephore Niepce captured the world's first permanent photograph, but it required 8 hours of sunlight to develop properly. The oldest surviving camera image is called View from the Window at Le Gras. This historic image is considered the birth of photography, even though it's extremely blurry by today's standards. The word photography means drawing with light. Coined in 1839 by Sir John Herschel, it comes from the Greek words photo, light, and graph, drawing or writing. People used to sit still for up to 15 minutes for a single photo. Early daguerreotypes required long exposure times, so subjects had to remain completely still. That's why people never smiled in old portraits. The first war to be photographed was the Crimean War, 1853 to 1856. British photographer Roger Fenton was among the first to bring the brutal realities of war into public view, setting the stage for photojournalism. George Eastman revolutionized photography with the Kodak camera in 1888. His slogan, "You press the button, we do the rest," made photography simple and accessible to the masses for the first time. Color photography existed in the 19th century, but it was rare and expensive. The autochrome Lumiere process, 1907, was one of the first commercial methods, using dyed potato starch grains to produce dreamy, soft images. Polaroid created the world's first instant camera in 1948. Edwin Land's invention allowed users to take and develop a photo in about 60 seconds, decades before Instagram made instant cool. The first digital camera was built in 1975, by Kodak. It weighed 8 pounds, recorded 0.01 megapixels, and saved images to a cassette tape. Kodak didn't pursue the tech, a decision that would later haunt them. The most viewed photographs in history are taken by smartphones. Today, over 1.8 trillion photos are taken each year, mostly on phones, a dramatic shift from a once elite, niche art form. From shadows on a wall to 4K selfies, the journey of photography is nothing short of magical. If you enjoyed this visual time travel, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that bell so you never miss a moment of history captured in a frame.